Welcome back, everybody, to the Part-Time Warlords. We are here for a big review show of the Graves Call 3 finished the fight at Newcastle as part of Castle Assault. So we're going to go through a big summary of the event tonight. I'm going to introduce my guests in a second. And just to remind us that we playing out of Sydney, playing out of Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. And we have a whole bunch of really friendly tournaments. And our promise is everyone's there to have fun. And as per usual, I'm pretty sure just about everyone had fun. So we hope that we can continue this success we've got. And hopefully we may even be able to sneak in a few new players for our next events. So Castle Assault, just to sum it up, if you hadn't seen the video we put out a week or two ago, we've got all the round one matchups. And today we're going to look back at those matchups, look at what happened, and then do a summary of some of the other games as well. We played 2 days, 4 games. The rounds were 3 hours and 15 minutes. We still needed more time, but that's okay. We were a bit rusty in some parts. But at the end of the day, we had fun and said goodbye to the old gal, the Gallipoli Club, and look forward to what happens in the future. And thank Kendall, everyone up there at the Legion Club for their support. So, round one, let's jump back in time and let's have a look. We had Cornerstone and Secure Target. And I'm going to introduce now two fellas who matched up on table one, round one, Brendan and Jack, who we're going to be fighting for the Ninth Age Championship at some point. So we'll get to that and see who came out on top with the cummerbund. All right. G'day, Brendan. How are you?
Good evening, Chris. Great to be here. Very well, thank you.
And you played against Jack. Jack, how are you, mate?
Evening, gents. I'm very well. How are you both?
Excellent. And more excellent for having spent 3 days with you, I think. So
it was fantastic.
Jack travelled up from Melbourne. Yeah, he travelled up from Melbourne. We stayed the weekend. It was awesome. But I'm going to hand it over to you guys now, so you could talk about your first matchup. I might actually start with Jack quickly. We hadn't played too many games. Jack, how were you feeling going into 3rd edition Ninth Age without too many games under your belt?
Look, these are the first games of the new edition I'd played at all, so I hadn't played any of the new edition. I was a little concerned. Look, I love Ninth Age, but we both kind of know, or we all kind of know, that the devil can often be in the little details and the little rules changes. So I kind of picked up as much as I could, but then I was like, we'll just have some fun. We'll roll some dice. And I think I took a list that was kind of fairly straightforward to play. But as the stories I'll tell through this podcast, you'll see that there was a few points where I was very rusty and got a few things wrong. So,
Brendan, how about you? How much experience do you have with the 3rd edition?
I think that would be the 2 half games we played and the 1 3/4 game I played with Matt, along with quite a bit of reading I've done. Not overall, the game feels the same. It has the same flavor. They have streamlined so much. I feel these games would have been 4.5, 5-hour games in the old edition, but much, much quicker in this edition. Some very much needed and very appreciated changes.
It's a really good point, mate. So I went in a little bit nervous about the new edition. The bits I'd read online, I was like, I don't know if I like some of those changes. And after coming out and playing 4 games, I'm like, this is so much better. Like the things they've tweaked for me are just excellent tweaks that kind of improve how the game plays. And there's less of that kind of gotcha moments and less of that kind of fiddliness of certain character movements or champion positions, or I just really like the changes. So
yeah, very much so. I very agree. The monster gotcha, the mobility. The game was all about the mobility, all about the angles, all about the charges. They've made everything less killy, everything cheaper, which in itself has made everything a lot tougher. And the changes they've made for infantry blocks, I got thoughts in the works of trying to bring back the Tomb Guard, that haven't been relevant since, the 6th edition fantasy sort of thing. So very, very much hoping that, it's brought a lot of very much needed changes. And being a UD player with some very, very big footprints, a lot of 50 by 100, always getting flanked. The consolidation and the simplicity of the getting flanked and everything, how much it speeds up the game. Very, very happy. I had absolutely fantastic weekend.
That's so good to hear. And I learnt as well that your Tomb Cataphracts do have big base sizes as well. I was astonished when I learnt that.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were 50 by 75s.
I think
So
we were.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, just going over it there. You've got the lists, and if you want to go back and look at the preview from the previous video, please do so. But essentially, Jack's got the zombie dragon, and Brendan's got the everything ambushes sort of list. So we'll take it over. Might throw it to Brendan again.
Secondaries, I'd honestly forgotten about these and hadn't really considered anything strategic about my army list. It was just all about lots of killy, and I knew I needed scoring, so as much scoring as I could fit in. I, of course, run my UD. It's pretty much all I run these days. I got Workers 1, which is most scoring units within the center of the table, 9 inches at the end of the game. Jack got Master the Veil, which is the most casters within 9 inches at the center of the board at the end of the game. I believe he was running 2. I was running the 1. And yeah, the game went very one-sided due to a handful of reasons. This was our deployment. Our center of the board was just this side of those ruins. I spread out my very large footprint, got my 4 ambushing units are ambushing, and Jack's got his units spread out. He's got his Graveguard Knights on the far side. This was the 2 pennies, 12 inches in. He's obviously got his very fast Knight unit ready to go. And yeah, this was pre-turn 1, so...
Some awesome photos there. Jack, tell us a little bit about the models that you were using. They were quite unique.
Yeah, I've got a bit of an odd mix of some old GW and some 3D, a bunch of 3D different printed models. So the one on the left you can see there are my gas models. They're the 3D printed, and I couldn't tell you the name of the company. It escapes me right now. And then
It's not Monstrous Encounters, is it? It's not Monstrous Encounters. I quite like their stuff.
I think you're right. I think it is Monstrous Encounters on my Mini Factory. And then I've got the those models on the left there you can see, which I use as a couple of Arcalax as well. Yeah, and it's a bunch of 3D printed knights, and yeah, it's just a bit of a mixed bag of different 3D printed and the like. So
awesome, Brendan. I think you've got a similar sort of composition with some of your battle cats. We've named them the Undrying Dynasties, apparently. So that's now the new nickname for your army. Is they're never going to dry out.
Undrying. That's wonderful.
It's a great Freudian slip.
Desert,
Yeah.
Desert, cats, everything like that. No, the cats are from a modeler on Colts 3D. He only did a handful of designs from what I can see. A couple of UD, and I think he's got a couple of Chaos Warrior designs. These are called Bastettes. I think they are my only 3D printed model within it. Most of my other stuff is actual Visual Games Workshop. My catapult there on the right, that is one of the original Finecast heavy metal suckers. My Shabti are actually
I'm not sure we've got a good close up one of your Shabti, but you can see them in the far background over here. You've got them here. Huge units.
Huge units, big units of 8, very scary, very intimidating. I did learn they cannot take a hit at all. They do dish out lots of damage, but they do die very, very quickly. Did not utilize them in this game as they should have. I hopefully learnt from my mistakes in the next couple of games, but yes, I very much fed Jack very many points, 1 unit at a time.
Yeah, there's this big combat here. That blue block there. Jack, is that your corpse cart in a Skelly unit?
Yeah, that's right. So that's just my corpse cart in the Skelly unit behind the ghouls and the ghast on the right. So.
And Brendan, you got a big combo charge on that. How did that turn out for the Undrying Dynasties?
Oh, awful. I had two of the snake units within, I think I only needed a 4 on Swift Stride on both units to hit the gas. In hindsight, it would not have been enough. One got in and hit the gas, one did not. I then sent my Sphinx, who is currently dead, into the ghouls. Don't know why I thought it was going to be enough. Sphinx popped. I think he popped combat. He got in turn 2, popped combat turn 3. Lots of poison attacks got him, plus the combat rest in the turn before. The snakes in the ghasts popped straight up. Just completely bounced. I think they killed 1.5 bottles, which got healed back. The second unit got into the flank of the ghouls, and I believe you'll see in the next turn they also popped. So yeah, even with the double rear charge and the flank charge, just was not enough. Not with that corpse cart nearby. Not with the great changes to the infantry, the press the ranks, the huge amounts of combat res. I think I resed the Varkalak out the turn before. I think it was into turn 3. I combat resed it out. I think you'll find this is turn 4. And I just bounced so heavily off these units. They just had way too much staying power, just beyond anything I could. More multi-charges coming in. I think I was starting down 6 or 8 combat res. He killed way too many. I killed nothing. We popped, and that was very much it. I was down 1,400 points, I think I was by the end. So,
oh yeah. There's another couple of shots there. We've got those awesome Barrow Knights. While we're on this, Jack did take our best painted, best presented home. So very well done with his. How would you describe the color scheme, Jack, with the kind of the blues and the greens and a bit of the red in there?
I would describe it like I describe all of my armies: offensively bright. Yeah, I try and push it as in to go for a bit of a tabletop pop. So I kind of go for that green with to try and make it look like the glowing sort of effect. Using the airbrush, but yeah, it paints up pretty quick.
Awesome. I've got a couple more shots just there. It looks like you're just consolidating your back line. Basically, that combat kind of not wasted, but I guess it was wasted, unfortunately. Just sucked in so many of the Undrying Dynasties units, and there wasn't much else that could be done. Is that fair to say, Brendan?
very much so. I think I took 2 units of dogs and a Varkalak. He took Catapult, Sphinx, 2 units of snakes, and my chaff by the end of it.
Yeah.
We called it turn 5 and didn't calculate to turn 6. I think it came out in 18-2. I didn't get secondary or primary. His wonderful little knights raced out to the side. My MVPs
That's what
for
they're
the
great
game.
for. That's what they're great for.
Most definitely. My ambushing units are most definitely my MVP. You'll see they caused so much hesitation in people. They've changed. The impact hits have gone from Strength 4 AB1 to Strength 5 AB2. They're Strength 5 AB2 across all their main attacks, and they are just absolutely brilliant. LVP was 100% me. My models did exactly as they should have. I learnt from this and throw the Shabtis forwards. Don't throw my flanking units as hard hitters. They are not. And yeah, don't feed points to things that can easily eat them.
So yeah, there we go. We had a fairly big win there, 18-2 to Jack on that first table. And looking back at the predictions, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be pretty tricky to take those big blocks. But I think you learnt as you went on, and we'll see in round. You took a bye in round 2, but in round 3 and 4, I think you were getting some good combo charges off. So we'll have a look at those in a sec. Now we'll just flick through. We've got table 2. In round 1, we had Hugo versus Dylan. So that was Hugo's take one of everything Dreadoff army, backed by our. I think Hugo technically was our defending champion of 2nd edition 9th Age. I believe he won the biggest event that was run for 2nd edition last year at the Carlos Smash, and he was playing against Dylan, who we were all watching the Stygiosaur pack to see how OP they were. But he has the double Taurosaurs and heap of magic, and yeah, really solid player. But unfortunately, it was the Dread Elves with the master himself getting a really big win, which will be a bit of a pattern as we see for Hugo. And then on table 3, it was the Dragons of the Dark Gods, Max defending champion himself against Mark with his demons. Go back and have a look at their lists from the last video. But hilariously, we had a 12-8 to Mark, and the belt did in fact change hands. So we'll come back to that as well at the end of the video. But the belt, which was put up for grabs by Max, was actually taken, and Mark managed to strut around in a very cocky way, which was awesome to see people having fun with the belt. Table 4, we had Kieran versus Matt. So this was the human off, the Empire with their multitude of ranks and halberds against Kieran's super lancers. But it seems like they were very much able to overcome Kieran's forces. Just I will play Matt later, and I'll talk about it then. But just he's got a lot of counter charges, a lot of support for all of his units. So pretty tough to break through. And then table 5. So this was me against Freddie with his first game of 3rd edition. Me bringing my Flying Lord, Master Occultism, and a bit of everything, Knights and Forsworn. Really just a big cluster of different units. And Freddie bringing his Immortals, as they're going to be infamous, I think, at this point, boys. There's the Immortals there with their halberds and the rocket battery.
And they very much live up to their name in this edition.
Oh, absolutely. So, and then there's some of my blokes there. So there's my warrior block with my Lord you'll see a little bit of. You can see the Forsworn on the right. The Knights, for some reason, are about to move quickly. They were deployed in a weird way so that I could fit other units in. There's my Shrine and my Wizard in the bunker at the back. This was a bit of a funny game because we did have to kind of play it. We did have to kind of play it pretty cautiously, trying to learn the rules, making sure that we weren't, having some sort of unfair advantages. But unfortunately, even so, you can see there's a ruin on the left. It's kind of like a big dice tray, actually. Some really awesome terrain you'll see throughout. We'll have some better shots of it later. But essentially, he thought ruins were disruptive as well as really the dangerous terrain was even worse than it was. So he basically avoided it at all costs and waited for me to go into it. But when I did go into it, he was like, "Oh no, it's not as bad as I thought. Why did I do that? Why did I push the blundies forward?" So probably the LVPs for him in this game were the blunderbusses, but it was more than made up for by his Immortals, which pretty much held his battle line together. So yeah, he's got a big vassal block, which had a bit of fun as well. They were not too tough to take out, but they just had so many bodies. There's turn 1 or turn 2 there. You can see on the left is my Forsaken one. Now, the Forsaken one, funniest thing in this game was that the Forsaken one decided on his 3d6 that he would roll a total of 34 inches of movement in 2 turns. So he blitzed his way up the left flank. He actually got into that vassal block turn 2. And then the dogs came up and flanked that unit, and they destroyed it. They couldn't fight the Immortals off, though, as they held the line. I basically just kited around on the right flank and held off his bull. And the Warriors took the blunderbuss block for some points. But then Freddie was able to countercharge and blow up my warrior block. So it ended up a 10-10. So, gosh, those Infernal Dwarves are really, really tough to take out. Yeah, we'll get your guys' thoughts on those later. But in this first run, actually, we had a bit of I guess it was an inaugural sort of championship or stakes that were on the line. We had the 9th Age Australia Shield. You can see on the shield there, it says city versus country. So we got 5 players from our city and 5 players from outside the major cities. And City took it out with, I think, 3 or 4 of us getting wins, and I
It
think I got
was
the draw
4-1,
4-1.
75-25. Thank you
Oof.
very much, Mark, for saving us from getting whitewashed.
So he took the belt, but lost the shield. So we look forward to some of you guys giving us some suggestions on how to fight for the shield next event or next year. As each year, we're going to kind of pick a fun sort of way to match up people or some sort of stakes to put on it, and we'll put a new plate on there. And thank you very much to Brendan, getting us sponsored and getting the shield made. So maybe Brendan, you should have a good say in the next way to fight for the shield. Have you had a thought about it yet?
A couple of things, but it's just going to depend on who comes in, and gonna have to be some form of discriminatory, height, or like veterans versus newbies, or undead versus living, or good versus evil. We'll find something funny, and worst case, we'll just draw straws.
Awesome. That did actually just remind me, thinking back to previous editions, how boring would a UD versus Vampire Counts game be? But it seems like yours was actually quite eventful. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do a goodies versus baddies type of thing in the future. Round 2. All right, let's fly into round 2. So I'm going to throw it to Jack. Jack's going to talk about his round 2 match, which was up against Mark, so the belt holder. So Jack, I'll throw it to you. Give us a bit of a snapshot of this matchup.
Yeah, cool. So I was playing Mark. Mark went for quite a unique demons list in that he has no characters, which means he also has no casters, which is an interesting choice for demons because their whole shtick is magic. So
And they just give you magic dice, don't they?
yeah, they give you magic dice. They generate more magic dice themselves, and then he doesn't use them, which is a bit of an odd thing. So I went into this match. Mark had thought this wasn't a great matchup for him, so he kind of deployed on the back of the board. And you see in this photo, he just kind of pushed up a little bit, then I pushed up, and then he just sort of slid back. So it was a real cagey sort of match. Which I was kind of okay with because the the primary here, I think, is maybe hold the center or something similar, or get into the center.
Yep, hold the center. Yep,
center. Yeah. So when he bounced back, I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna get 13 or something. So yeah, cool. He threw a unit up to kill some chaff, but I was like, nah, I'm not taking that because that would just open up a whole bunch of counter charges and the like, and I just probably don't have enough to crack through a unit of Lemurs in a turn. So yeah, it was a very sort of cagey. The epic combats of this game was my dogs against his eidolons, the mighty, and as a running joke. So Chris, on the Friday before this, was like, Jack, dogs are actually pretty solid in combat, and true enough, like you look at the profile and you're like they're like strength 4, like they're strength 3, but they go plus
2, 3
1 on the
attacks.
charge, 2 attacks each. So at one point I was like, well, I've got my my caster who can raise dogs, who can grow a dog unit. So I was like, what else am I going to do with the magic? I grew a 15-man unit of dogs just YOLOing around, which is a lot of fun. Fighting eidolons, which I'm told are also fairly terrible in combat. So that was our epic combat, was dogs fighting eidolons. So that was why I got the slight points advantage, because it turns out dogs, which are dirt cheap, are better than eidolons, which are actually pretty darn expensive. So yeah, small win from there. But yeah, good game. Just very cagey and sort of standoffish.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, my one. So my matchup was against Kieran. We got some beauty shots there. Kieran's fantastic. Brett's army with the Super Duke, and a few just simple sort of things to point out here. We had some kind of a lot of chaff on chaff in this game. Pegasus Knights with their good armor save held up a lot of my forces for quite a while. The monsters on my side were actually doing pretty well. Managed to kind of counter chaff him. The steam tank, and I think I've missed the photo here, but the steam tank and my Forsaken one were kind of dueling it out, and as we will as we'll see, that steam tank has been a pain in the backside for a lot of people. So that steam tank is going to come back later on and be a pain for me and the Bretts. Looking at this, though, my Forsaken one was able to kind of shoot up that flank and annoy him a bit, and just hope that he fails a bunch of armor saves. But basically, my knights, you can see the knights there. I reckon they're probably my MVP of the entire tournament. Those knights with sloth, so they just get that extra save. So when you get that through the armor, they just get this extra roll, which helps them a bunch. The knights were able to kind of chaff up and grind down those peg knights. That turtle, that battle turtle up the top there, the dragon turtle, flank charged into the knights there. The knights fought him off, but that was enough time for the rest of my units to kind of come in and combo charges his big block there. So we had a big win to the Warriors. Again, my lord finally decided to hop out of his unit, fly around, and use his AP10 sword properly this game instead of having to hide in his units from rocket batteries last game. And these are our results for the round. So you can see there, Hugo got the big win on Matt, and Tim subbed in and played against Dylan for a 9-11. Max with the Dragons was able to get a small victory over Freddie and his Immortals, and I got the 19-1. So end of round 2, we had Hugo flying up the board, Jack close behind, so they'll play, and then myself and Matt and Max trailing there. All right, round 3. So this is day 2, round 3. We're going to throw it back to Jack again. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any photos for this one, Jack. So basically, we've just got this. So you take us through it.
Yeah, fair enough. So quick on Hugo's list. He's running Dread Elves. He had a little bit of everything, but like spear units, couple little Corsairs, some Knights, some Guards, some Temple Militants, some Judicators. Basically one of everything: a Hydra, a Kraken, a Mist Leviathan. How this played out, we sort of pushed up. I sort of took a charge, so I gave him one of my Varkalax, which then gave me a charge into one of his units, and I'm trying to remember which. Might have been the Obsidian Guard, maybe, which then basically gave me an overrun into a Hydra. Unfortunately, I needed like a 5 on the dice, and I got like a 3, so that meant I then got countercharged by that. He sort of got some other points from me on the right. I didn't realize like the poison shooting really chips away at the dragon. So he had the poison shooting, and he was just able to like chip a few wounds off here, chip a few wounds off there. The shooting from might have been like a unit of Corsairs as well. Yeah, they're wounding on like 6s, and you've got like a 4-up armor save. But when they got an AP1, they just get wounds through. So
yeah, they got about 20, 21, 22 shots, I think. Yeah. So a lot of dice.
A lot of dice. And so eventually you just get the wounds through. So yeah, he got the dragon off me just by chip shooting. We did the maths at the end, and because I was just really afraid of that spears block, and we did the maths at the end, and I should have just thrown my like ghouls into it. So we did the maths, and we're like, actually, like you kill maybe 2 ghouls. Maybe 2 ghasts, and I take basically the rest of the unit off. So in hindsight, I should have been more aggressive in the middle. But in the end, yeah, a big win to Hugo. Frustratingly, so right at the end of the game, my ghoul unit's there. He's got like a little unit of, might have been like Judicators or something, sitting in front, like one of his special units. And we're like, oh, no, it was the Obsidian Guard. So he's got his Obsidian Guard unit there, and I'm like, oh, I could probably take that unit off. And he's like, I'm probably just going to throw all the attacks I can on your general. And I was like, and we did the maths, and we're like, oh, you probably don't kill the general on average. I've got like a 4-up regen, and like, you probably don't.
Your wounds on a 4+. Yeah, I think your wounds on a 4+.
Yeah, wounds on like 4+, something like. You probably don't kill him. Like, you have to spike. And we're like, oh, yeah. And I'm just like, screw it. Let's do it. We're here for some fun. Yeah, it was absolutely the wrong decision. That general was also my secondary. So my secondary, again, was have a caster in the middle of the board. And so that meant I lost secondary. So that was like a point swing there as well for something that was probably just not worth it for the points you get out of those Obsidian Guard. But yeah, lesson learned.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's the Obsidian Guard just striking at him. It makes sense. Multiple small units. You sacrifice them for the general. Well done.
Yeah,
To
well played.
Hugo, but it sounds like you learnt a bit out of that one as well.
Certainly did.
Yeah, you're right. It would have had to spike a little bit. But yeah, no, it's on an edge with that +1 to wound and that high initiative, high agility, high weapon skill. They're really deadly.
Yep.
Brendan, take us through you've subbed back in and you're facing Tim, our TO Tim, with his very simple no magic plus dragon dread elf list. How did this game go?
I partially went the other direction from being not aggressive enough with the Shabti to too aggressive. Gorgons, who I think are already 2/3 of the points, almost wiped out the entire unit of a Shabti. They won combat by 2. I ignored one of the 2 and took a wound. On the charge with their Gorgon attacks and all the other strength 5. It's like 82, 83 attacks. Absolutely savaged my Shabti. Lucked out and savaged them back. Was carrying a banner. Just lucked it. So this is the second round of when we had combat. The turn before, the Sphinx wasn't in the flank of his witches, or his can't remember that. They're the special ones with the Aegis save. Shabti just, unfortunately, this would have gone completely different. Tim had 5 attempted charges. 3 of the 5 failed. And I think 2 of the 3 that failed, he only needed a 4 on those dice. So very unlucky for Tim. Very big game changing. Definitely, again, MVP in this game with the chariots. It caused him to hedge his bets. Turn 2, I got 3 of my 4 ambushing units up. He had 1 or 2 units turn around to face them. Did not help him. They still got rear charges. Ripped through so much. Just, yeah, I think the game ended up coming at 12-8. I think we tied on primary and I got secondary. So, but yeah, very good game.
Awesome. Yeah, great to see the Shepti just holding that center line there. Was this the counter charges that you were talking about in this photo? Those units there set up?
Yes, yeah. Definitely. So his unit he's got the war platform in it. It got slapped. I think it took Scorpion, which held it, and then it took 2 chariot units to the butt, which then spun around and just ripped through other units. The snakes come in shortly and took something else out. The hill was actually, truth be told, I could call the hill my MVP because it stopped his dragon and a unit of his spearmen from doing anything because I didn't tow it and just hid behind it the whole game.
Awesome. Well done. All right, my matchup. There it is. That's the one I was talking about. There's that blasted steam tank on the right there. So we matched up with my warriors against I'm going to call it the Horde of Empire because it was a huge amount of models on the table. There's a better shot of it. Huge amount of models on the table, and they're all very spiky, all very scary looking. And Matt essentially and I went to a pretty close matchup. It was a little bit tricky. We had early in the game, I'm not sure if I've got a shot of it here. No, I don't. Early in the game, basically if you want to go back and have a look, my magic setup is basically I can shoot you with 3 or 4 quite high damage spells, and I took half of his night block off in 1 or 2 turns of magic shooting. So he and I were kind of like, okay, the knights are going to be really careful now. His knights have also got the marshal with the light of the sun style who ignores armor. Obviously, I don't like that. But once we deleted half of the knights with their 1-up save, we still managed to get so many wounds through. It meant that he did have to kind of pull them back. I was forced to kind of make some riskier maneuvers. You can see on the photo on the left, my knights are also using that hill. So the hill was probably the MVP for me as well in my game. This is my flayer unit. So these barbarian horsemen here are my flayers, and with throwing weapons, they went up, and you can see they did 9 wounds to this 20-man block of halberds. Managed to sneak in behind the Imperial Guard line and throw and kill 9 guys in one volley. And then they were able to kind of break through the lines after this. They just were able to grind down the halberdiers. The steam tank I pretty much just had to ignore because it just held down that flank so easily. We've got, as per my request, a photo of Matt just being just a great general there. So he's just such a solid general, holding the line with all of his buffs. You can see all these cards all over the table. Basically, we had my warriors in the center were able to get into the Imperial Guard block with sword and shield, but his stubborn was able to hold him in place for ages. I made the mistake of not being able to not putting my lord in the right spot to attack his lord. So that was a bit of a learning pain for me because of the way combat reform works. You can move the heroes around a little bit, and if I don't maintain contact with him, he can just reform away from me essentially. So yeah, that meant I wasn't able to break through the line in enough time. He's got a really good defensive setup, so it was 10-10. Yeah, not too much more to write about that one. Kind of just a bit of a stalemate.
Shout out to Matt's beautifully painted Empire army, though. I really like what he's done, like the big banners and the big blocks of soldiers and everything. It's a nice looking army.
And the bases bring it together really nicely as well. He's got some beautiful work on the bases. He has, I believe, he did win Best Painted at least once before, so it's great.
Nice.
It's kind of one of our, I think it's kind of one of our hallmarks of our events is that we pretty much have different winners of the awards every single time. And I know that people bringing new armies as well, kind of freshening that up as well. Matt, I know, is in the process of doing some armies and for Old World, I think. So he, however, will help us a lot with terrain, which we'll talk about in these next few shots here. You can see some of the things that he's brought in, this giant bad moon thing, which is fantastic. I think this is one of your later games, is it, Jack? Against Tim?
That was my last game, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so, and then here there's Dylan's. Unfortunately, I've got to get some better shots, but you can see Dylan's awesome Stygiosaur pack there. There's some custom models there as well, and there's a couple of pieces of this fantastic terrain. We can't really do it the service it deserves because it's the scale is ridiculous. Just absolutely huge terrain pieces, which really were popping on the tabletop. There's a few more shots of Brendan's game, I think, there. We'll get a bit of a close-up here on a better shot here of some of the other terrain pieces. This was the lava board, which had some really impressive sort of pyroclastic detonations going on. I don't know what else to call that terrain piece there. And there's Max's Dark Gods. If you want to see more on Max's stuff, head over to Young Seward on his YouTube channel. He's got a full sort of breakdown on his games, which he goes into lots of depth and shows you some great shots of his army, which is just insanely good. And I think it deserves you go and have a look at it. That mega dragon in the center there, we have to get some better shots of it next time. Here's some of Timmy's work. There's some of the Demon Legions, and you can see another kind of themed board there with all these awesome blue vines and crystals. Oh, really awesome stuff.
An absolutely huge thank you to Matt for all the work he's done. He gave us 5 fully terrained, unique boards, all themed, all with 3D. I believe we had an ice, a lava, a ruined city, an elven, and an orc. You'll see shots of the ruined city with the cobblestone. He cut out individual thousands of tiny cubes to base it to make it look like destroyed cobblestone. He spent months and months of time and effort. So absolute thank you to Matt. It just looked sensational.
All right, and yeah, just a few more shots there. End of round 3. Here we go. So Hugo now just soaring ahead. Me 10-10. Tim and Brendan pretty close there. Max getting a solid win against Dylan, so he's still in the hunt. And Mark getting a pretty big win against Freddie. So those I'll just flick back a couple slides here, and you can see there you go. There's some of the demons there lining up against the Infernal Dwarves. So he probably got I'd have to double check, but he probably got one of the bigger wins on the Infernal Dwarves because they were really tough. And again, credit to Freddie, hasn't played very much in a while, and he's picking it back up and doing really well. And then there's another shot of those awesome Feldrax, awesome Feldrak units, and that Flying Lord that Max is rocking. So, leaderboard, end of round 3. We have Hugo soaring ahead, 52 points. And then myself somehow, with my 2 draws, it's quite odd. And then Jack close behind. So it was kind of going to be a little bit of a tricky one at the top there. And Brendan, I can see, is jumped back up there since he had that bye, and he is going to be playing his round 4 matchup. There you go. I was wrong. He got the biggest win against the ID. Tell us a bit about your round 4 match, Brendan.
Oh, biggest win?
Awesome.
Immortals. 513 point immortal unit in a character. Took me over it cost me, I fed it 1,000 points in units. It bounced a full unit of 8 Shabti, a full unit of snakes, and a full unit of chariots. MVP of the game, I think I have written down as being the chariots and ambushing scorpions. On hindsight, it's not. It is the chariot horses that killed 6 immortals in 3 rounds of combat, averaging 2 a turn. About on what the Shabti were doing. It was unbelievably hilarious. There was a comment of, "Oh, not the horses again happen." Absolutely brilliant.
This is the AP3 Strength 6 Shaptis that the Immortals basically don't care about.
That they don't care about, and here is having my 6 horse attacks. I think first turn, 5 hit, 4 wounded. Shouldn't have happened. And I think he failed 3 of the 4 with no AP. Just tragic rolling. We had ridiculous dice spikes from insane charges happening to minimal charges not happening and no AP saves not happening.
They've got a 3-up armor and spears. It's like they're the best infantry unit, essentially.
Oh, just most definitely.
And Fury. I forgot about that. Fury as well.
Oh, mate.
Chaos Warrior stat line with Fury, can't be wounded on better than a 4+.
Better than a 4+.
And spears,
spears hitting back.
On a 20 mil base,
Thankfully, he targeted the Shabtis a lot because they're in the front for the extra attacks. Hinting, otherwise my chariots would definitely have popped off. This list had me worried. With a bit more experience, Freddie most definitely would have taken this game. I was able to capitalize. I wouldn't say capitalize on mistakes. I was able to just, a little bit better playing.
Push the advantage.
A bit more experience. Push the advantage a little bit.
Yeah.
Push the advantage as well of the lack of skew. I think mathematically in percentage, I've worked out with charging. I will take more of a percent of long charges than I would have due to the linear charge distances as opposed to the bell curve. This was turn 5, I think. Turn 4, turn 5. The one Shabti left is the remainder of the turn 2 overrun into the flank of the Immortals. Those the cats, the cataphracts, were dead by the end of the turn. They took 3 wounds from Volcanic Embrace. Volcanic Embrace wounds on 4s and completely ignores their armor save and fortitude. So cats were out of there. Fed them the Shabti, fed them the snakes. I think I fed them the chariots. It took all these additional charges and everything into the vassals to break them. I didn't even kill them. I chased them down. The Immortals, he didn't have I believe a combat-y character as opposed to a wizard,
Mhm.
100% he would have killed the Shabdi, he would have turned, he would have got flanks. Yeah, definitely. I think you can't see this, but behind this bottom unit of Shabti, his bull took out my catapult. I had to bump my character out of the unit. I fed
Mhm.
him the unit. It held for a turn, and I think we calculated into turn 6. He was going to get my characters anyway. It was worrisome game. These unbelievably tough nut to crack, unbelievably tough. But at the same time, not feeling overpowered. Very, very happy where these armies are sitting currently.
And let's throw it to Jack for your round 4 against the horseman over here, the headless horseman. I think that is Tim, isn't it? We've worked out that's Tim. Yep. Unfortunately, the shot is by the window, so it has glared off a little bit. So, Jack, this is from an earlier game, I guess. So, or I've got the
No.
wrong. I've got the wrong sort of matchup up there. So you take me through this.
No, that's all good. This this was against. Let me pull it up. It was against Tim, but it's just he had Dread Elves.
Yep.
So he had, as a quick run through, he had a Demon Prince on Dread Prince on a Beastmaster on a dragon, couple of assassins, some spears, some militants, big block of Gorgons, which are tough as nails, Judicators, Obsidian Guard, Divine Altar, some Harpies, and a couple of Hydras. So this is just pushing up. So I think I had the first turn. I kind of pushed up into him. From here, it got a little bit cagey, but effectively sort of on the left-hand side, my couple of Varkalax just kind of held off against the two blocks there. I couldn't really do too much. The main combat happened in the middle where his Gorgons charge into my Ghasts. They sort of held each other and both did a bit of damage from the first round, bit of damage from the second round. But then he gets the charge in with his Beastmaster General, which has got like the multi-wounding D or 2 or multi-wounding 2 or multi-wounding
Yeah,
D3.
the old
like
crippling frost, the new Hider Hubris. Yeah, it's called Hider Hubris now. Yep.
And that's nasty. That just takes those guys off. So they just peeled those guys off, basically. That really opened up the center for him. He was able to really aggressively push through the middle of the board then at that point. We're playing Breakthrough. So that at that point got him like a couple of scoring units because then he's able to also push into my skeletons and grab them. And then he's able to just basically push that unit through to get through to my breakthrough. I managed to get my ghouls into his. Couple of challenging points here. I'll apologize, Mark. I got a little frustrated at one point in that I shoved my dragon forward. I pushed them right up in front of the Judicators, and I did the quick maths on it, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to hold on to my breath weapon because I'm going to need, like with his combat res, I'm going to need my attacks, dragon attacks, breath weapon, and thunder stomps into that combat just to have enough to not lose the combat. Now, if anybody's played this game more than the 2 games that I've played it, you'll know that you're not allowed to use a breath weapon in combat. Which I was a little frustrated by because I could have used it the turn before because I'd pushed them up within that 6 inches of the breath weapon anyway. And then I thought I'd lose the combat. I didn't. I still managed to win that combat and get that unit. So I think the lesson learned from this game is I needed to be more aggressive with my dragon, which was my lesson across the weekend. But otherwise, yeah, just kind of traded some points as well. So, yep, good game. Mark had a good win there.
Awesome. What was the final score? 15-5 there. Yep.
15-5. Yep.
For him?
15-5 for him. Yep. I was a little surprised. I got a flank charge with my knights into the flank of his Hydra, and I did like 1 wound on the charge.
Oh, no.
Oh, that didn't work.
Oh, no.
Still won the combat. combat.
Just a
'Cause I
dice
had
flop.
flank charge. Yeah, I had the flank charge. The ranks, all that sort of banners, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, did not thought I'd do all right there, but
No,
turns out
no
not.
lethal strike heat-seeking lancers, unfortunately.
No,
Because he's a good target for them, actually. So
perfect.
you'll have to keep them. I love those knights. Hopefully, they can do better for you in the future.
I think I'd keep him and I'd swap a vampire lord into there and get that hitting on twos.
Oh,
Double
fantastic!
down on them.
Yeah, fantastic. So with that, that meant that I was playing Hugo to finish off. So this is basically potential for Hugo to kind of, if he wins small or loses small, he still stays in podium in first place. If basically I wasn't really thinking about it, but if I win big, I thought I didn't really think anything, to be honest. But if I got a big win, I maybe could have caught him. I kind of don't like looking at ladders and stuff too much between the rounds. So just kind of have to concentrate. There's already so much to think about, right? Between figuring out who you're playing and how you're playing and keeping track of time. But yeah, my Warriors against Hugo's Dread Elves. So in this game, he kind of, I was able to kind of counter deploy. And you can see there my big warrior block standing slightly in between the forests and the river, kind of like in between a rock and a hard place, really. Wasn't really great of me to do that, but it did mean that my warriors could kind of hold up the center, and they were matching up against that big old kraken. And you can see there you've got the war dancers there are proxying in for the dancers of Yema. So dancers of Yema are bringing up the flank. He basically used we mentioned them before, the black cloaks with their poison shooting. They essentially cleaned up my flank, but my monsters ran past them. So we kind of traded flanks on the same flank, which makes no sense. But I got into his back line. He got into my back line. And you can see there, we can't quite see it, but that Kraken has 3 wounds left. So my magic shooting went ham on the whole game. Pretty much my magic was really great this game. And Hugo, unfortunately, had some really unlucky dice rolls on his side because he has equally as strong magic, but really only got off a few good spells throughout the game. Early on, I managed to take 5 wounds off that Kraken. So that was really awesome and meant that these warriors position themselves in the center. You'll see here, this is the left flank on the left of your screen. He's got a massive spear block with Temple Exarch. I just went stuff it and I threw my knights and my battle shrine into it. He moved up pretty confidently. I mean, he probably is very justified in doing so. Big spear block like that with a bit of magical support. I actually managed to get Blood Curse off on that unit. That's the card you can see behind, and I think I got that on a really lucky roll as well. So Hugo wasn't able to stop that. The Blood Curse helped my knights stick around. They won a combat, and those Dread Elves failed their break check and were pretty much they did escape the pursue, but then I got them on the next turn. But the key thing there you can see is my Flying Lord. He's flown out in front of the Hydra. So that poor Hydra had to back it up. He couldn't get out of arc. And they're going to duke it out in the next turn. The shot on the right is my Flayers basically sacrificing themselves to block up those Dancers of Yema for a turn. And there is the shot of his knights. So those Melusai models are his Colwan knights with the +1 attack banner. And they came back around and they charged into that battle shrine. They almost killed the battle shrine. It was on 1 wound. Again, Battle Fever with Discipline 9 helped them stick. I got a couple of lucky stick rolls in there. And the Lord countercharged and took out those knights, which was great. You can see my knights on the left there. They were turned around, but then I just decided, stuff it. They're going for breakthrough. They turned around and went for the objective. And then you'll be able to see here, those red dice on the right are my Lord on 1 wound, being hit with the psychic attacks of his wizard, and 1 wound left on my battle shrine. So I was very fortunate to keep those blokes alive. And they basically stayed behind that hill, safe from the psychic attacks for the late turns of the game. and Hugo blitzed up the board, combo charged my warrior block. I pretty much just had to sacrifice them. He combo charged the warrior block and annihilated them, which wasn't too bad because my lord had obviously jumped out of that block. But then later in the game, you can see the Dancers of Yemma got Spectral Blades off, and they carved through my Forsworn in one turn easily. So they're a really dangerous unit, especially with Spectral Blades. He could go to paired weapons and wound on threes. So really, really devastating. But I still had enough time. I had enough models left. I was able to countercharge with the big old Forsaken one there and pretty much clean the rest of his army up. Yeah, fair bit of luck going my way in a couple of spots, especially with my magic being quite powerful and him failing that test on the spear block. So that means I got an 18-2 out of that one. That's the board there, what we were mentioning, that cobblestone board, and this is the results from round 4. Mark getting a 14-6 over Dylan's Lizardmen. Historian Ancients, and Max going down to Matt 15-5. So I think we've covered all of those there. So let's go to our final results. So that did mean I was able to actually, with only 2 wins somehow, I was able to take top spot. So that was really awesome. Hugo's still coming in second with his 3 wins, really solid wins. And Matt, again, super consistent, was up there. Mark got up there and they were tied. It was so close, but you can see there was actually quite a big difference in VPs between Matt and Mark. But still 47 points together. Jack coming in 42, very respectable. Max on there 39, followed by Tim, Brendan, Mark, Dylan, and we had Kieran only played the first day, and then we had our sub in. But again, big thank you to everyone in the Newcastle area. I mean, we love playing these. Tim's our go-between, so the Sydney guys and in this case the Melbourne man all travelled up, and it was great to see all of them. So we had Best Painted going to Jack, as we mentioned. And here's my favourite part. This is our championship. So the 9th Age Championship, which Max has started the tradition of we have to defend it every game. So it's essentially like a hardcore title. It can be contested anywhere at any time. Started off with Max from the ShyCon Slam. He was the winner. He was the inaugural champion. He was actually the second champion. The title actually says James Knight on it. So it is the James Knight commemorative cummerbund at this point. And then it was won first round by Mark and his demons. It was fantastic. But then it was won by you, Jack. How did it feel to win it for one game?
Fantastic. A lot of fun. You can see that is the end of the day. And I've had more than just a couple of drinks by that point. But it was good fun.
In the morning, was it sobering to see this man?
Yeah, looking across the table, I was like, here we go.
So Hugo did take it from you in round 3. Funnily enough, that was when that I played him. So now I guess I've got it. It's hanging in my garage, and again, very thankful to Hugo for the game. It was a great sport. He was still, again, I'm pretty sure Hugo has not played 3rd edition at all until now. So again, he's just going to pick it up really quickly, and he kicked ass for most of the tournament. And I was, very happy. I haven't won first in a very long time, so super psyched and really excited to keep continuing our great events. So to finish up with, we might throw it to Brendan. Brendan, what's coming up?
I believe we've been talking about Moab, the Monday of the long weekend coming up. Let everyone else play the Saturday, Sunday, and we were talking about having a day on the Monday. Do stand by. This is yet to be confirmed, and hopefully we've also been having thoughts about something happening in December. So we'll let you know if anything else pops up, but that's where we are now. We're just Also, a big thank you to Complete AV, who is my primary employer. They've been so fantastic in assistance in prize support for the past 2 tournaments for ShyCon and for Castle Assault this year. They have for 25 years provided audiovisual solutions for corporate, education, commercial and domestic all across the Greater Sydney area, New South Wales, and internet and nationally. So if you need anything audiovisual, please get in contact. CompleteAV.com.au is our website. So thank you very much, Chris, for all your assistance and everything, all our gaming fun.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a hobby without our great community. So we've got great support from all the fellas, and we look forward to our next event. We will have a little bit of a pause as we wait for a ETC points sort of update. Get online. I've shared out the news page from Ninth Age, asking for basically feedback for a 3.1 update. I imagine that would actually be happening pretty quickly. I don't think they'll dawdle with that. And yeah, we look forward to seeing maybe towards the end of the year, maybe we'll get some news on a season 2 pack. The Broken Isles season 1, and maybe we'll get some news on that as well. So look forward to hearing from you guys, especially the people that couldn't attend. I know there's a couple, it was more than a couple of people who wanted to come along but could not. So we look forward to hopefully hosting you for something else. So maybe I'll hear back from you two guys when we do our evaluation of 3rd edition so far, maybe in a week or two. So I invite you both back. And Jack, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having us. It's been good, gents. Chat soon.
And Brendan, thank you so much as always for the support, and Complete AV giving us some great prize support as well. So we've also got to figure out what to do with our exclusive Castle Assault models. I
The
think
little guy riding the ogre with the mug. So very
yes, and
excited to get him going.
absolutely. I love Tim's Tim's assertion that the little guy on top is Ninth Age, and the big old ogre is all the other systems. We're just piggybacking off them and having a good old time. So thank you very much, listeners, and have a good one.